What up, what up? Here we are with another episode of the Hooswhere podcast. I'm your host, Chase Minifield, coming to you live from Lexington, Kentucky. We have on the line today, Max Million. What's good, Max?
What's up, world? I'm apologize for the background. I'm in Richmond, Virginia today. I'm building a new crib out here, so just gotta get some work, man.
Hey, listen, one thing about me, I'm not gonna put anything on YouTube that's gonna have a good shot of my gut like Max is.
Hey, man, that thing looks slim right now, man. Look at my seatbelt off. Look at my seatbelt off. Reposition myself, make it look a little better. There we go.
I'm just letting you know it was a bad angle, but we got a great guest on today, man. One of the UVA greats, a men's soccer player, and he played professionally too. So we're excited to have Cobi Span on today. What's up, Cobi?
What's up, guys? Really happy to be here. Really excited to talk to some old UVA friends and, just get in contact again.
So you got your UVA gear on. So
yeah, I had to strap up, man. I'm always strapped up with UVA gear, man.
So give us a little update, man. Like, what are you doing currently? We're going to take this story from the podcast. We like to hear everybody's journey, where they've been, what they're doing now, all different type of things. But I'd like to start off with like, where you at right now? What are you doing currently?
I've been in Stockholm for several years now. I have a wife and a kid here. My wife from Sweden and my kid was born 3.5 years ago. I'm currently working as a video game designer for a company called The Gang in Stockholm, and they make games for Roblox.
Okay, dope, man. So you are then got into the video design world. Now, how'd you get into that space coming from the soccer field?
Yeah, it's something I've always been.
I get it straight, coming from the pitch. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, from the pitch. Yeah, it's funny because I've always been interested in video games. Since I was a kid. More than just playing. Of course, I like to play them, but also I was interested in how games were made. I read about it. I followed the industry. And then some years ago, I was like, okay, I need to think about what I'm going to do after football. You get to that point when you're playing sports for a long time, you have to think, okay, I don't want to be retiring with nothing, with nothing to go for. And, I was like, okay, I want to do something I like. I want to do something in the video game industry. Then I was like, okay, how do I get into it while I'm still playing? So I started doing some online classes here in Sweden while I was playing. I kept going with it for a couple of years. Just last year, I had signed with the club in Stockholm, and I was like, okay, this might be my last year playing soccer. So let me try and get maybe an internship or something, let me try and get into something. And at the same time doing my internship, I was applying to like a full-time school for game design. And I got into a full-time school for game design, but that wasn't going to start till the fall. And this was like January. So I was like, okay, let me see what I can do during this period until that time. And I luckily got an internship with this company that I'm currently working for. They gave me a chance and said, we like your profile, like you're a professional athlete, but we also like that, you're interested in gaming. It could be a good matchup, you come in, you work hard and learn a lot quickly. It'd be good for you to get some, the learning experience. Yeah. And I got in, and I really went off, man. I went all into it. I really, did my thing, learned a lot and really dedicated my time to it. And they ended up giving me a job. And at the same time, they were like, you're going to learn just as much here as we will, maybe probably more than school. So I was like, okay, I need to make a decision. I ended up not going to the full program for game design and just started going full time with the company.
That athlete mentality of like, you already know what you want to get. You kind of see the path and let me hit it full speed, right? Taking my time on it. So that's pretty dope because, one of the things that we like to always talk about is like transitioning out of sports and how that affects people. Man, like you started working on that towards the end of your playing days and you picked a brand new field that you didn't even like previously have any experience in and just like start from ground zero. Like, this is what I like to do. I want to try to do this. Let's learn more about it. So I really commend that, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, I didn't know I was going to like it that much at first. I just, I signed up for a class. It's just like 25% studies. And I was like, okay, this is pretty fun. It's just like a game production class. And then I did another one after that, and I did a little bit more, 50% study rate, which was I was actually creating the games. And then it kind of hooked me in. And I was like, this is nice. This is what I want to do. And ever since I got the internship, I was like, I got to make the most of it. And once I got in there, people were pretty impressed. They were like really like surprised I was going for it at that rate and asking a lot of questions, learning a lot really fast, like kind of just being open to everything. And that's kind of what gave them the opportunity or made them want to hire me full time. So
Okay. Is this just like coding or is this like design where you're like graphic designing and stuff like that? Like what is the process that comes with what you learned how to do to then be valuable for that company?
Yeah, it's sometimes a little bit hard to describe what a video game designer does, but it's a very well-rounded like position, you know. So I work on a team with a programmer, with an artist, and I'm the game designer. We also have a project manager, but I come up with the concepts. I brainstorm ideas. I write the full game concepts. Then I work with the programmer and the artist together to actually make this game come to life, you know, to actually build the things into the game. And then I test it over and over, make sure it plays well. I build the system.
So it's your brainchild. It's your brainchild.
Kind of. Yeah, kind of, man. I mean, obviously, I get a lot of. I work with other game designers as well to get ideas. You know, it can't just only be me. You know, I hear a lot of different ideas and I put it all together in the most sensible way for it to be fun on that platform.
Yeah. So Cobi, let's start off with this was UVA, man. So where you from? How long you been playing soccer, and what brought you to UVA?
Yeah, I'm from New York. You know, I grew up in upstate New York, not that far out, like 45 minutes from Manhattan in Westchester County. A lot of people live there and they commute into the city. I've been playing soccer since the last I remember, you know, like maybe 5-6 years old. I went through an academy and I kind of got the bug, you know, I really dove into it, loved the game. And as I got older, I decided like, okay, this is kind of like what I like, what I want to do. Kind of like what I said now, like game design, you know, this is what I want to do, you know. And I kind of just dedicated my craft. I had my family support. I work hard with my brother and my dad. My brother actually played tennis. He's a tennis coach now. So we both had our sports. We both kind of, you know, pushed each other to the limit to really be the best we could be. And as I got older, I kind of turned some heads, you know, and UVA was one of the schools that was interested in me. And I said, let me go visit. You know, I visited UVA. I visited UNC, a couple more schools. And when I went down to UVA, I was like, this is the one, man. Like, this is the bomb, man. I can't not go here, you know? So I signed up. That was it for me. And I went down to UVA and I loved it, man. Really an amazing experience. I mean, I still miss it to this day. You know, I still think about it. It was hard for me to leave and go play pro. You know, it was hard. You know, I still want to go back and see old friends and, you know, get that lifestyle back of living on campus.
How does pro work for you? Do you guys have a set number of years you have to play in college, or just basically whenever you feel you're ready?
How do you mean? What do you for studies? Or?
Well, for football, you can't even go pro until you play 3.5 years. You know, basketball is 1 year. I didn't know for you guys.
Oh, okay.
Or you?
No, I don't think
kind of
is.
like so. Like, were you at? Okay, so you just felt you were ready at the time.
Yeah, I felt I was ready. You know, I felt like it was a good moment for me in my career. This is my dream. Let's do it. You know, and it was sad to leave, but I felt like it was something. It would be more sad if I didn't go for it.
Understood, man. Well, that's a good question, Max. Because essentially, you know, how many years did you stay at UVA before you left?
2.5 years.
So when you come in and you're like, all right, you know what I'm saying? Like my goal is to go pro, right?
Yeah.
Like my goal is to go pro. Like I'm over here trying to get right. Well, you play forward?
Yeah, forward or midfield, mostly forward, attacking, you know.
All right, attack. So you're in the attack, you know what I'm saying? You try to put points on the board. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to strike the band up, as I would call it in football.
Yeah.
You're trying to strike the band. Essentially, you know, you come in and your main goal, like I'm assuming right from the jump, is like to go pro when you show up on campus. Is that like for everybody on that team? Or do you guys have people on the team that is like, all right, I'm probably not going to go pro. This is just like something I want to do as my last hurrah in the soccer space type situation. I'm going to focus on the business. Like I'm talking about like scholarship athletes.
Yeah.
Like the welcomes.
I think in the UVA, since it's such a competitive school for soccer, I think it was more players that wanted to go pro and a smaller percentage of players that were there, you know, that they were definitely thinking this is my last hurrah. I want to give it my best. And some of them, it kind of maybe transitioned a little bit as some players got older when they're reaching fourth year, maybe they realized, okay, maybe I'm not going to be a pro. And then they became one of them players that, okay, I'm going to give it my all because this is my last hurrah, you know? Okay. But I think for going in there with your first years, like it's competitive, you know? You feel that kind of competition. It's like, you know, me against you almost, you know, like who's going pro, you know?
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And I'm not necessarily sure like what the history is like, and like you guys have an option of going like overseas or going like Well, I guess, how would you even say that? State to me what the ranks of the professional leagues are. Like MLS is probably lower on the stuff, right? Versus
I mean, MLS has definitely got a lot bigger in the last like 5 to 10 years. It's been growing super fast. Maybe when I was just leaving, school, like I think MLS wasn't so big as it was, not even close to what it is now. I think now it's definitely ranking up there, getting up there. Obviously, the European leagues are bigger, and especially like the English league, those are crazy big, in Italy and Spain. But I think MLS is on the way up. I took a different route. I went to Sweden first, and then I ended up going to Finland, and I came back to Sweden. And people don't realize also that like these leagues are big as well. They're very, very competitive. A lot of very good players out here. And if you come here, a lot of people watching the games. You go to the top games in Sweden, it's 30,000, 30 plus sold out games, and it's a lot on the line, and it's more passionate than the American leagues. I would say people like the fans, they live it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I don't want to jump too far ahead because I do got some more questions about like the different leagues and things of that nature and how they differentiate. But as far as like when you showed up to school and you were already like, I'm going pro, like my goal is to go pro. Like what, how do you pick what schools you're going to study and what you going to? You going down the football route with sociology or psychology, or you trying to go commerce? You trying to go commerce, architecture, engineering. You know what I'm saying? Like, where you at right here?
Right when I left, I was supposed to decide my degree, Okay. So I was like, I kind of like, I got that point where I was like, what do I choose? And now I was like, okay, I'm done. I was pro. I really didn't know yet, because I feel like it is tough at that point to know really what do you want to do. Even if like I knew what I wanted to go professional football, I also knew that, okay, maybe that won't work out. Like what am I going to do here at UVA? What am I going to like what's going to be my thing? What am I going to be really interested in? So that's a tough one. I think that's tough, even if you're not playing sports.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. 100%. So essentially you just was, taking classes and like, figured out what you want to do. And I'm sure it was in the arts and science perspective, right? Of like, I'm gonna go this route type situation. And then ultimately you got the opportunity to go play pro. So when you are playing, how was your playing experience your first 2 years there at UVA?
It was awesome, man. First year I had it up and down. I started with a bang. I came in flying. I scored in my I think first or second game or first home game. I was feeling really good. Like I came in so hot, so much energy, but it only lasted so long. You go like this, and then I hit the point where okay, like teams start to figure it out. They start to look at the games. They come at you a little bit. Okay, who's this young guy? Who's this? We're gonna hit him. We're gonna come. And then I had like another upward spiral in the later first year, but the thing that was unfortunate for me is that both years, the years that I was there, we never won a championship. We didn't go far in the tournament. So that was kind of a low point for me from the UVA. Like I really wanted to win a ring. I was like, I want to win a ring. Before I go pro, that's what I wanted, but it didn't happen. And then not the year after I left, but it would have been my fourth year. They won the ring that year, so it was kind of sour for me. But while I was playing there, like my second year, I came in with a lot more confidence. I felt like, okay, this year I need to step it up even more. My first year was pretty decent. People knew that I was a good player, but I need to show like what my level is. And that's when I kind of showed my class and what made me get professional clubs to take a look at me.
That makes sense. So are you getting recruited while you're there playing? Like, are they?
Yeah. I mean, I had clubs that were like taking a look at my my game tapes. They wanted me to send it over. They were like, yo, we want to see the game tapes. We're hearing about this player, like agents. I know we're calling the university, the coaches, like, yo, like, we like this guy, so that things were happening around and I was hearing things and I was trying not to pay attention to it. But then once the season ended, I started getting these offers.
So essentially you decided, what was like, you wanted to go pro, you come to your second year, you're getting offers on your plate, you're going to school, you're not necessarily sure, what my route, what does this truly look like in the school realm? Or does it like, I just want to go make some money? Like, what is your options here?
It wasn't like just like go make money. Like it was like, I wanted to see how far I can take my level, my game, like I wasn't even thinking like, yeah, like, I need to go make some money. Like it wasn't even about that. Like I love being UVA, like, how the college life is. You're just there, you're just playing, you're like, you're a student, things are good, like for me, like I was happy, but I was like, okay, this is my dream to play at an elite level. Like, let's go see if I can handle it. Let's go see if I can step up. And then when I get there, where do I go from there? Where do I want to be? And after my first year, actually, in the summertime, I got invited to go to Europe and train with a few clubs. A couple of clubs asked me to come train with them, one in Germany and one in Sweden. And then after that, I came back, I did one more season, and then one of the clubs called me and said, "We want to sign you." So
dope. So when you come out here and you make this decision to go pro, like, had you done a lot of international travel already?
No, that summer was the first time I did it. So, like, and the first time I went out, like, I went to Germany. I was there for 3 weeks. It was a long time, and like the first few days, I was kind of homesick. You know, like a jet lag as heck, man. Like, in Germans, they don't speak English that well, so I was just kind of like in my own zone. But eventually, I got into it. After like the first week, I kind of got more confident, started playing more of my game, and just like there's one American guy there that I knew pretty well, so I was able to really like enjoy the experience more, and that kind of led me into making my decision later.
How do you communicate with a teammate that doesn't speak your natural language?
I mean, it's already hard to communicate on the pitch sometimes in soccer because it's such a big pitch. You know, the player can be like all the way across the pitch. I mean, at least in Sweden, everyone speaks like almost perfect English. Like, it's crazy here. Everyone speaks such good English. Like, there's never an issue with that. You know,
I can only imagine me trying to cuss out one of my teammates and they don't.
Yeah, they're like, what?
More.
Them cussing them out, Chase. Imagine trying to get the play from your coach that don't speak English, bro. You could be on an island. You don't know what you could do out there.
Like, in soccer, like, they don't even. Do y'all have like plays? Like y'all don't have like plays. It's just like freelance, right?
We had plays on, like, you know, when they have like free kicks or corner kicks. Then they have like set plays where we're not like NFL or football where, you know, it's like you guys have way more advanced, but we definitely have plays. You know?
Yeah. Okay.
It's more about spacing, Chase. You gotta have, you got to find the open space. You anticipate the pass. Yeah, stuff like that. It's not.
I understand that, but I'm just saying, like, in general, like, so I understand if I don't speak your language, I could go out there and still do my thing. Because, you know, at the end of the day, I know my goal is to light the scoreboard up. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know my goal is to light the scoreboard up. Or if I'm a goalie or whatever, I'm stop people from scoring. I don't need nobody to tell me that in my language. I know what.
But you got to be in the right spot though, because if you blocking somebody else and you mess, I mean, it's not a play, but it's like it's an area you gotta,
That's why me and soccer didn't. As you know what I'm saying, like, everybody wanted to be spaced out and everything. I was like, listen, let's go ahead and make it do what it do out here. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, no, that's awesome, man. I love that you got to go out there and get that experience. And that's one thing I love about soccer is I think sometimes when we're in the States, we get locked in on the sports that we see all the time on TV. And then you go outside the States and you see how much people love soccer and are constantly, watching and supporting the teams that they are rooting for. So essentially, after you leave UVA, you go to Sweden right away, right? So you've been in Sweden since you left. That's where you've played your professional career. And how long is your career? What year are you going into?
Well, first I went to Sweden. I went to Stockholm in 2013, and then I was there for 2 seasons, about a year and 8 months. And then I actually went back to America. I went and signed with FC Dallas, Texas club. I went there and I signed a 1-year deal. And I actually ended up going on loan that season to Orlando, Florida. So I went to play at Orlando City that whole season. I really enjoyed it. I was there for the whole season. Went really well. And after that season, I was like, okay, do I want to stay in America or do I want to give it one more chance in Europe? And especially when you're that age, it's better to go to Europe when you're younger so you can build a career. Yeah. And right after that off season, talking with Dallas, they were like, we want to keep you, but they didn't see me as their like first choice. So I was like, I don't want to be here, like, not playing, So the team in Finland called me. They're like, we really like you. We think you're first choice. You're going to play a lot. I was like, why not? Let's just go. Let's go do it. I was young. I was like, I need to be constantly playing if I want to improve. Because the career goes quick, if you're not playing, next thing you know, like your club around looking at you, it goes quick, So I went out there, was there for 3 years, went awesome, went really good. We won the league. We won like the Finnish Cup. It was like the first time in history for that club. It was like an amazing time.
So for soccer, is it like women's basketball where you can play the season in America and then the off season overseas, or is overseas a full-time year?
It's a full year. It's like the preseason starts in January and the season starts in like March and then go all the way to December.
Gotcha. And then, I mean, there's so many clubs, so many countries. Like, are you narrowing down by like, hey, this is the division level I think I'm in. Let me reach out to these countries. Are these countries just kind of looking at like the American clubs? Because from what I know, isn't it mostly like the guys that get a little bit older overseas and they come play for America later on? So are these clubs typically looking for players in America, or how's that kind of recruiting process? Because there's got to be God knows how many teams out there.
Yeah, I mean that's why agents, a lot of agents now they have client base, whether like it's American based, bringing American over to specific location like Sweden or Germany. But sometimes like these agents they find these hot young players and they bring them over to Sweden or Germany, and they'll let person come bring them over for a trial. So it's a lot of big agencies nowadays that are really focusing on certain countries,
So obviously the World Cup just went on, right? And the USA, they've like restructured their team, I think, right? So
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like I read something where they have people who are not necessarily born in the States, but have some type of tie to the States, and they're trying to find more of the Euro players and bringing them to the Team USA to hopefully be better, more competitive on a global world scale.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that versus the homegrown, born in the States talent being able to be represented on the USA team?
Well, I feel like, of course, if you're like a USA fan, you're always gonna be like, they're the homegrown player. It's always gonna be like, yeah, like I'm really support that, and of course, but if you see there's a real talent with an American parent, and that maybe they haven't spent so much time in American, and they grew up with American dad, like my kid, he's half American, half Swedish, so like he gets all of America from me,
Yeah,
maybe he won't.
He's gonna be eligible for Team USA, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like he talks like me, he walks like me. He basically is gay, So like, I wouldn't say like that shouldn't be something. Of course, that should be allowed. Like, especially if they're good enough, if they're at that level, like, and they're gonna help USA. Of course, bring them in. Like, why not? I think that's cool. I think it should always be a mix.
Do you feel like that lessens the people in the States that want to play?
Like lessens the youth?
Just like the, what I'm saying, like first of all, a lot of people are going basketball, football right out the gate, right?
Yeah.
But, for us to be able to continue to push people to the soccer space and have the best athletes playing in the soccer space, I would assume that they need to feel like they are capable of representing the national team with people that they've been playing against their whole life nationally.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Type situation. At least that's what I would think.
Yeah, I think maybe it doesn't lessen, but you should have a balance. I think you can't have a full team of players that never grew up in America. That's thinking like, okay, what am I watching? Like, almost gonna be a little bit weird. But I think you should we have good enough players like that grew up in America. Christian Pulisic, he grew up in, I think, was it Tennessee or I forget exactly, or Kentucky, I forget. But he's our best player. I mean, America as it gets, But I think when you have these unique players that are, maybe their parents were living overseas for a certain amount of time and had a kid, et cetera, and they have a dual citizenship, give them a chance, especially if they're going to light it up. I think they will be embraced just as much as the others, as long as they're lighting it up, as long as you're winning. Kids want to see, hot players that are doing cool things on the pitch and scoring goals. So as long as you have players that are doing that and making USA bigger as a country on the national stage, then it's going to be cool.
How do we improve and get the best talent to play in the United States? Like you grew up playing, you loved it, was attracted to it. I grew up playing, loved it, and was attracted to it. But at the sooner or later, I had to pick between basketball, football. How do we try to get the best athletes to continue to play in the soccer space?
I think it needs to be bigger in the media. Like I think, of course, like when we grew up, like of course I was watching NBA. Like I was super into basketball. My school wasn't a big basketball school. My middle school, high school, growing up, I think maybe that played a part. And I was like, we had a pretty good soccer team, but I was also playing soccer on the side as well. I was like, I like this, let's do it. If it was a massive basketball school and it was the coolest thing, I probably would have went that route because it's so cool to see, when you see like they become your heroes, When they're putting more in the media on TV and they put like these players, these big teams like in America, and they show how cool it is to be at a professional soccer player in America or outside of America, then I think you can make kids be like, wow, I want to be like that, Mm-hmm. So I think they need to really show it more in the media so it can become more of a top sport in America all over the country, not in just certain parts.
Yeah, that makes sense. I would probably think that they need to get some they need to try to compete with like large names coming to play for the major league clubs, or trying to like broadcast some of those EuroLeague games on like an ESPN type situation, right? Where like most of our sports viewers are kind of watching, and is, you know, we stick to football and basketball and everything else local. Then exposure becomes less and less, right? To, you know, all these different types of options. And I mean, kids are growing up playing soccer. Like soccer is the first sport that they are in. It's either soccer, t-ball, one or the other. You know what I'm saying? So
I feel like kids start to fall off after a certain point because they see all this NBA, NFL on TV, which is no problem with that, which is cool. Yeah. But you're right, like ESPN, like, you know, if you see soccer come up on ESPN, you're almost surprised. Like, oh, it's soccer, like cool, you know. But it's not like something you see regularly.
Yeah, for sure.
I think a big part of it is the schools also, because I mean, I played soccer my entire life growing up. You know, I was on the U16 Premier League teams, and throughout middle school and stuff, man, I was like, man, I might go somewhere to play soccer. But once you get to high school, it's almost like high school soccer, or at least where I was from, wasn't a big deal. If you were any good, you played for a club team in our area, and the best club team was like an hour away, unfortunately, which I was traveling, but in high school, it just wasn't feasible. Whereas, you know, there are no club football teams. You know, the best football players are playing at your high school. The best soccer players weren't playing at our high school soccer, because the club games and practices were after school on the weekends, the same time as the high school games. So I think you get a little bit of a split there, and then, you know, it's just so hard because it's kind of like, you know, baseball in a sense almost, where everything's club related. It doesn't really matter what your high school does. I think baseball's America's sport, but I think that's where you lose. A lot of it is where, you know, you can't get that homegrown feel for your high school team being great, and then these guys aren't going to, you know, you don't know them through high school. So when they go to college, you have no idea who they are because you never watched them, and you know, it just doesn't start there. So I think that's a big part of it.
That's true. You know, I think when I played club soccer, I had to travel 35, 40 minutes training, like almost several times a week. But that's what I had to do. And like, okay, I played high school soccer, but the level was so much lower. It was like not even comparable.
Exactly.
And you know, when you have like basketball and football on a high level, it's like right at your school. Like you finish school and you go straight into the gym. You know, you don't want to have to go to your mom grab me to a soccer practice 40 minutes away. Like that makes it, that's a turn off as it is.
Makes sense. All right, man. So let's jump back into what you're doing now currently with the gaming. So what have you already made some games? What we looking like right with this? What's some of the games you've made?
I don't even think I can talk about the game I'm currently on because I'm under NDA.
On the NDA? Like, we got NDAs on the podcast. That's what like some good stuff.
This is a first, man. We appreciate it. We feel, you know what I'm saying? When it comes out, we'll make sure to tag you. Like, hey, we are the first here.
But I can tell you about the game that the company has done. Like the company called The Gang, kind of funny name. They're one of the biggest game development companies on Roblox. I don't know if you guys know about Roblox, but Roblox makes games. They make metaverse experiences super, super big. Kids really love it.
Yeah. And Roblox, everybody loves Roblox. I mean, when I first I probably learned about Roblox probably like 4 or 5 years ago. And I remember because it was one of my like nieces and nephews. They just playing this game. I'm like, this game is terrible graphics. Why are you playing this game?
Yeah, they love it though. It's funny because it's so easy. You hop on the phone, you start to play, you have your character, you bring your character to any experience, any game in Roblox, and people like it. They really like getting the new clothes, like dressing up your avatar. You can go to games and like earn different, you know, avatar pieces and stuff like that. So one of the games, or several of the games that the company worked on is the Vans. You know, Vans, the skateboard company. They've made a lot of branded client experiences because nowadays a lot of clients, big brands, they want to compare to Roblox because they see that kids nowadays, there's so much exposure. Kids really want to, like, they care about the avatar in the game almost just as much as they do themselves in real life. Like, they wanted the character in the experience to look cool. They want the Nike gear. They want the, like, Gucci. They want the cool stuff on the avatar in the experience just as much as they do in real life, you know? Because it's bragging rights. You know, I look cool in the game. You're like, what about you? You know, what you got?
That's how all this metaverse stuff started right there. People needing to look so swaggy online. They was like, oh, we made it.
Yeah, exactly. Because you start to own your character, you know. So our company, they really focus on these big clients now that come to them. They want to showcase their games on Roblox. And I'm working with one of these big clients now as a lead game designer. And we have a game out that came out this year and doing really well. And we're working on it for this year coming up. So
Awesome, man. Do you feel like this is a place that you're going to play in going forward? Or do you feel like you got, I mean, I don't know if you can say this or not, but do you feel like you got some other things that you may be trying to get into for the rest of your career after football is over?
I mean, right now I'm really liking it. Like the person that brought me in, named Håkan Fries, he's one of the founders of the company. He kind of introduced me to everything within this company, kind of showed me the ropes, and I've been really like developing really quickly, learning about how to really shape the games for Roblox players, and eventually it's gonna go not just Roblox. I think more like maybe Xbox, PlayStation games. We'll see where it goes, but I think I really see myself like developing here, because I think they're really happy with me as well, and I think that the company is growing. Like when I first joined, it was like 40 something people. Now it's 100 plus. And fully remote. Everyone works fully remote.
From home. Everybody works from home. So talk just a little bit about like how's it is being in Sweden, raising a family in Sweden.
Yeah.
How's that going compared to New York?
I mean, it's nice, man. I really like Stockholm, man. It's a really nice city, really easy place to come. Everyone speaks, perfect English, and everyone is pretty welcoming. Like especially the way the society is set up. Like, my kid has daycare, school is paid for, health insurance, everything's paid for, and your taxes. Family wise, it's like one of the probably the easier places to come and raise a family.
They got a Soho house out there?
I think so. I think they have one.
I'd like to come out there and holler at you out there.
Yeah, man, come. Stockholm is pretty easy place. I mean, you can come like 7-8 hour flight from New York.
Oh yeah, they got here one right here. Majas Sorgaton 5:47.
There you go. Do you guys play the Scottish League at all?
No, I never played in the Scottish League.
Okay. My buddy owns the team Hibs. I don't know if you heard of him, Iberian. So I didn't know.
Yeah, I heard of him.
We played, tried to. Yeah, so my buddy owns that team, so I was just wondering.
Wow, that's cool.
All right, man. Well, we're excited. I thank you for jumping on this podcast with us. I think that the gaming industry is a huge industry that's up and coming, up and coming, but flourishing.
Here and coming more.
It's flourishing. I seen that you were working on it, and I wanted people to hear your story about how you go from soccer superstar New York to living in Sweden, Stockholm, and making games and playing soccer. Like that's an amazing accomplishment, amazing story. And also on top of that, being a dad, family man, and going from there, man. So from athlete, we have a lot of respect for you. And we love that you are part of the Wahoo community. Can you let people, and before we close this podcast off, I'm excited to make sure, I'm gonna be watching our statistics, make sure we better have some Swedish listens over there. Yeah, I'm gonna see some.
I send it out.
Exactly.
To the company.
We're going international now, Chase. I like it.
You know what I'm saying? Next thing you know, we might be having a UVA networking event in Sweden. So
Sweden live podcast.
Yeah. So let us know where they can reach you at, where they can keep up with you at, man, and where the best places at to connect with you.
Yeah, man. I'm on Instagram, Cobi Span. You can follow me also on Twitter, Cobi Fresh, that's Cobi Fresh. Yeah, catch me on Twitter or Instagram or wherever. My email cobispan@gmail.com. LinkedIn as well, Brian Cobi Span. So catch me anytime.
When can we expect your game to come out that you're working on right now in the NBA? When can we expect that? What should we look for?
It's out now. It's out now. It's all right and it's doing well. And I already have close to 11 million people have been into the game in the last 3.5 months. And I can say that it's going to get bigger and bigger as well. It's a sports related game. The sport that I like, I'll tell you that. So, I already revealed it, but that's it. It's going good and it's gonna get bigger. So
okay, awesome, man. Well, congratulations. Appreciate you jumping on here. That is the Hooswhere podcast with another episode. Cobi Span, one of the UVA soccer greats. We'll holler at you guys next week. We out.